Hey there, everyone. This is JVL from the Bulwark here with my buddy, Michael Fanone. And before we get started talking about what's going on with the latest Ashli Babbitt news, because it's horrifying, hit like and subscribe and follow the channel. It helps us more than you guys can possibly realize. Trust me, I've seen inside the algorithm, I know. Michael, yesterday we got word that the Air Force has reconsidered its decision on Ashli Babbitt getting full military funeral honors. This request from her family was denied under the Biden administration. What the Air Force said at the time was that due to the circumstances preceding her death, military funeral honors would bring discredit upon the Air Force. The Trump administration seems to have reversed this. And yesterday, the people at Judicial Watch, who for some reason are now taking up the cause of Ashli Babbitt, put out a letter from the Air Force saying that they have gone and, due to new information that they've gotten, reconsidered their decision, and they're going to give full funeral honors to this woman who was storming the Capitol and got herself shot by trying to break into the chamber. I feel like we're living in an insane time.
Land.
Yeah.
Everything that was said about, the circumstances in which Ashli Babbitt lost her life under the Biden administration is still, that's fact-based, based out of in reality. Everything that's being said now is, it's insane. It's further eroding, at least in my mind, the credibility of those who are in leadership positions in our military, that they would allow full military honors to someone who lost their life while committing the act of sedition, someone who was taking up arms against the government, and someone who had sworn an oath as a member of the military to defend the Constitution, and then lost their lives attacking it. It's an outrage. It should be an outrage to anyone who has served this country in uniform and made the ultimate sacrifice. It should be outrageous to their families. But again, it shows this administration's willingness to align themselves with people that would use violence against our government, against the Constitution.
I don't know about you. You're probably different than I. You and I are different people. I'm kind of a bleeding heart on all things. And, the killing of Ashli Babbitt is an absolute tragedy. She didn't need to be there. She shouldn't have been there. She was there because a bunch of people who knew better lied to her. None of those people got held to account. The fact that she was forcing her way into the chamber and wound up getting shot by law enforcement, that's a burden that the cops have to carry with them. I mean, it's just bad all around. And I could see my way to a sort of like, hey, we all got to move past this. And part of that is, understanding the tragedy. I could see that, right? But that's not what this is. This is like a switching sides where the government is not just trying to like offer amnesty to people from January 6th and say, hey, we all got to move on and grow past this. This is the government inked a $5 million settlement with Ashli Babbitt's family. And at the same time that they are according her honors, we have the Republicans in Congress who are blocking, just, putting a plaque in the Capitol, recognizing the efforts of the Capitol Police on January 6th, who, by the way, made sure a whole bunch of other people didn't get killed. Not just including the elected representatives and their staffs, but the other protesters. Like the Capitol Police, the crowd management they showed in that day was like unbelievable, right? It is everything you could possibly ask for law enforcement in terms of professionalism and bravery. And it's like the government has switched sides against them. That's what drives me crazy here. It's not just like, hey, we're gonna look the other way for this nice lady. It's we're on the side of sedition.
I agree with you. And listen, like For me, January 6th is a very personal experience because I was there and I almost died at the hands of these, brainwashed, violent MAGA, whatever you want to call them. And I'm not a heartless person in that I can't recognize the fact that a person like Ashli Babbitt was lied to by the former president at that time, Donald Trump, now president, and convinced that what she was doing was right. That being said, Ashli Babbitt was an adult, and she is responsible for her actions. And her actions were not just wrong, but they were really wrong. And she should not be afforded these honors that should be reserved for people who have upheld their oath to the Constitution and who not only served in a way that would afford them that honor, but continued to live their lives in accordance with the oath that they took to the Constitution, which she clearly did not do. That being said, everything that this administration has done since January 20th, beginning with the presidential pardons for everyone who participated in that dark stain on our history that was January 6th, has shown again that their willingness to align themselves with violent extremists and really flip the script in that I was the enemy. I am guilty in their minds of treason for doing my job that day. And that those that stormed the Capitol, they're the heroes in that story.
Yeah, it is amazing to me that at the same time the Trump administration does things like pardon all 1,500 of the people who were charged and convicted of attacking, and including violent attacks on January 6th. They also are attempting to lower felony prosecutions against like a dude who throws a sandwich and stuff like that, right? And they failed these. It's this weird, like, hold on, what's going on here? And I guess one of my questions for you is, put aside what should be, like in the world of like law enforcement in military communities, are any of them, like, are people going to look at this and say, man, that's messed up, this isn't how it's supposed to be? Or like, does this just not register? Like, do people in law enforcement in the military communities, do you think, look at National Guard being sent in to do trash pickup in Washington and used as props and think this is messed up? Or are they like, yeah, no, it's cool? Like, what?
It's a mixed bag. I was actually out in D.C. yesterday. I talked to a couple National Guards members, and they were just super excited to be out and about in uniform. But these guys are like 19, 20 years old, and they don't get, like, they don't understand the moment. They don't understand the implication of the moment. They don't understand the resentment of the community. They see it as, at face value, which is like, oh, we're here to clean up Washington, D.C. Contrast that with like some of my friends that are older, wiser, combat veterans who are like, this is disgusting. It's disgusting that you're taking, service members, regardless of, National Guard members that are there, supposed to be there for catastrophic events to help their community, or potentially be, brought up into active duty service and sent overseas like so many have. And they're out there doing gardening and trash pickup. There are some that recognize the insanity of it. And the same thing in the law enforcement community. Unfortunately, I didn't always have this enlightened viewpoint that I have now. When I was a cop, I was deeply immersed in the law enforcement echo chamber. And so I only looked at things from the perspective of a police officer. And I think many police officers that are, currently serving under this federal takeover see it in the same way that I probably would have as a police officer, which is they have had an adversarial relationship with both the community and the city council, and they see this takeover as, finally we get, we're in charge now. and without recognizing the fact that how dangerous that is and how destructive it is to the relationship between their agency, which they represent, and the community that they're charged with keeping safe, and how that is going to resonate for years and years and years to come. And I tell these guys all the time, like, I was there, in 2020, and I endured the summer of love, the Black Lives Matter protests, and the violence between law enforcement and protesters. And I told, everybody said, oh, like, everyone hates us. Everyone hates us. And I tell them now, like, you think everybody hated you then? Like, everyone really hates you now because they see how quickly you were co-opted into this, authoritarian takeover, and how willing you were to participate in it without any pushback whatsoever. And that, it's a hard thing to get across to police officers today. It's a hard thing to get across to my former colleagues in DC that, listen, like, yes, crime is going down because you have cops that are out there all over the place, but at what cost? And and flip the script, because inevitably the pendulum will swing in the other direction. How would you feel if a Democrat came in and said, I don't like the way that your community police officers are handling crime in your neighborhoods, and so we are going to dramatically change the way that they do things, and I'm going to take over the police department. I wasn't elected, in your community. I don't represent your values, but I'm going to decide how things are done. It's anti-American, and I mean, unfortunate, but that's what's going on in Washington, D.C.
Yeah. That point you made about the young guys in the Guard is so good, because if you're 19 years old right now, Trump is all you've ever known, right? I mean, we've been living in the Trump age since you were 10. Like, you just view all this stuff as, like, not as an aberration, but that just is like, well, that's the America you know. And right before we came on, something crossed the wires. New York Magazine is reporting that Trump was not happy with the Army's military parade, that he thought it was not up to what he had expected it to be. So he's going to have the Navy do a military parade for him in DC next. And I just, I think about the reaction we had to the first military parade, the idea like, hey, all of a sudden this looks like Red Square in 1985, like, by the time the next one comes around, people are just gonna be like, oh, I mean, that's just what we are in America. We're a country that, like, puts the dear leader on a reviewing stand and has the military march by him for his amusement. And, it's not out of the ordinary. That's just a Tuesday.
That's the point. But it does, like, I like to say that absolutely nothing shocks me anymore, coming from a 20-year career in law enforcement, and then having the experiences that I've had, as a witness to January 6th, someone who lived through it and then testified about it, and seeing the nation's reaction to that. But this is, the nation's willingness to allow this to become normal is really striking to me. People's willingness to just, I was out in Union Station yesterday, just kind of observing, and, you've got armored vehicles and people commuting every day and just kind of walking by it oblivious, as if it was, this is how it's been all along. And that to me is a scary thing.
Yeah. Michael, thanks for being with us. Guys, follow the channel. We're going to keep following this rocket sled to hell. Good luck, America.